Welcome to the channel, and today we'll be breaking down a song considered to be Eminem's most underrated song, No Apologies. The Shady Records compilation album Eminem Presents The Re-Up featured many good tracks, but several years later, one song still stands out, and today we'll be breaking down No Apologies. This is a song that contains a verse of a freestyle Eminem had done before the song released, and we'll be doing a detailed breakdown on some of the most interesting beats in the song. Also, remember to subscribe if you're new to the channel and turn on notifications. Eminem from a young age struggled to fit in, and he's spoken about this in several interviews and usually talks about issues like bullying he had to deal with growing up as a young awkward kid. As soon as he discovered what he was good at, he felt he had to fight his way through obstacles in his life and views himself as a fighter. Even after becoming famous, the fight has continued for Eminem, which is now mostly in the form of criticisms, and Eminem starts off No Apologies with this.
In my mind, I'm a fighter. My heart's a lighter. My soul is the fluid. My flow sparks it right up.
Eminem here pretty much used the way a lighter works to describe who he is as an artist, and it was perfect. His soul is the source, and his impeccable flow is the spark that lights up his soul in the rap game, signifying passion and talent working hand in hand. The next bars we'll discuss are quite ironic because it hasn't changed to this day.
A big headache, I'm sick, quick with it. For every lyric spitted, there are 6 critics who wait for me to slip with it.
Many critics pick on a bar that they believe is corny to discredit an entire Eminem song, and this is the easiest way I'll describe this. Imagine viewing an expensive house and knowing fully well that you can't afford it, but going for the viewing anyway. At the time you're asked if you're interested in purchasing the property, your excuse is that you saw a scratch on the wall in one of the bedrooms, and because of this the entire house is trash. We all know that's just an excuse to discredit the quality of the house, when the real problem lies within the potential customer, as it's broke. This is how I view many critics who pick on a single bar in a song and use it to discredit an entire song because they personally found it to be corny, and Hit on Revival comes to mind. And just like we saw recently with the release of Kamikaze, Eminem compares his rage to that of a lit dynamite, which could explode at any second.
Quick, it's dynamite stick, parry the wick, it's gonna explode any minute.
And with a dynamite explosion, surrounding haters are bound to get burned. Check out our video on the records of Kamikaze that burned critics who believed Eminem was an aging artist that needed to retire. You can find the link at the top right corner now. The next bar following was a play on the word lunatic and the rapper Nelly.
Some lunatic lit it and it's not Nelly. Do not tell me to stop yelling.
This is clever because Nelly is part of a rap group called Saint Lunatics, which is a hip-hop group from St. Louis, Missouri, and they had a short-lived beef at that time. So Eminem pretty much played on this by saying someone lit the dynamite and it's not Nelly. In a freestyle Eminem did on Rap City, which ended up on No Apologies, Eminem played on the criticisms Beyoncé faced at that time when a picture of her surfaced with her belly popping out, and Eminem used this to execute this clever play.
I'm not failing, you fuckers are not ready, cause I got jelly, like you pot belly, this is destiny.
In Destiny's Child's Bootylicious song, I don't think you're ready for this jelly, which is basically curves, is said on the chorus of the song, and Eminem uses this as reference to describe his success as a rapper. Eminem's success brought about a lot of hate and even some of the most ridiculous lawsuits you ever heard of. For instance, he was sued by some activist groups that deal with feminism and gay rights. His childhood bully sued him for $1 million, and we all know his mother sued him for $10 million. In a way, all this was aimed to stop him, but Eminem viewed these challenges as an enabler to fuel his soul in the rap game.
No apology, no suckers, I'm not sorry, you can all sue me, y'all could be the cause of me.
Eminem talks about his life a lot in his music, and because of this, many fans and vocal critics think they have an idea of what Eminem is like in real life, but this is far from the truth. You can't really know anyone you haven't spent time with. Hell, even some spouses don't really know each other until they spend years together after marriage, and Eminem touches on this.
You don't know me, I keep saying it, I can't stress it enough, so keep playing and stand next to the subs.
Keep playing it and stand next to the subs could mean keep listening to the song until you realize you don't know me, and subs could mean subwoofers in this bar. Stand next to the subs could also mean all you do is watch from the sidelines, like what players on the bench do when a game is going on. So in other words, it's out there on the field and haters are on the sidelines, and we all know they would rather play, but a lack of talent pushed them to the sidelines. Think of Charlemagne, who pretty much hates on rappers because he wishes he was one. Linking words, double meanings, and playing on homophones has always been part of Eminem's strongest points.
I choke mics like asphyxiation when I'm strangling my own throat, masturbating.
The real meaning behind this is quite sad, and some might even find this comical, but it was a real thing. Asphyxiation is the state or process of being deprived of oxygen, which can result in unconsciousness or even death. And autoerotic asphyxiation is the intentional restriction of oxygen to the brain for sexual arousal. Eminem used this as a perfect setup for the bar. Mike is a homophone for Mike, and a famous person to die from autoerotic asphyxiation was the lead singer of In Excess, Michael Hutchence, who accidentally strangled himself while masturbating. Now listen again and make the connection.
I choke mics like asphyxiation when I'm strangling my own throat, masturbating.
And for Eminem, bars like this are just a regular day in the office. Eminem, before he became the star we all know and love, for the most part of his life believed he was useless and unable to cope like a normal person, and Eminem has spoken about this in interviews and even in many of his songs.
Fuck yeah, I'm a basket case and I mastered this rap shit till my ass gets wasted.
But despite being plagued with anxiety growing up, with beliefs that he was useless, the Basket Case is now a master of rap, finally something he's good at, and is the Basket Case who is considered to be the greatest today. Gianni Versace, an Italian fashion designer and founder of Versace, was murdered by Andrew Cunanan, who was the homosexual stalker of Versace, and Eminem uses this as reference of how he could be assassinated by who could be described as a stan.
So my assassinations and I'm slain cause of some facts, infatuation. 44 mags of fascination, a taste for disaster, and if that's the case.
Versace was murdered at a newsstand for magazines by Cunanan, and 44 mags could mean Versace's death because of the fascination he had for the mags as in magazine. And remember, he was shot at a newsstand for magazines. This bar could also be interpreted as Eminem's infatuation with guns, which could lead to his death. So to break this down, fascination for magazines for Versace's death and fascination for guns for Eminem's death. Many fans around the world believe Eminem makes music that speaks to them, and if this is the case, then good for you. But most of the time, his music is just a reflection of what he's going through as a person, and to prove to himself that he's still able to remain sharp as an MC. And if you recall, during the release of this song, Eminem was going through a lot of personal struggles like self-doubt, drug addiction, and depression. But tracks like No Apologies were a way of telling himself that he still got it in spite of all the struggles.
This song isn't for you, it's for me, a true MC. It's what he'll do just to see if he still has it.
Tupac is considered to be one of the greatest, and even after his death, multiple new projects from Tupac were still released, which is proof that even death is not enough to stop a real MC.
And if his skills mastered, he's able to spill raps long after he's killed, that's a real MC.
Tupac is one of Eminem's main influence, and just like Tupac, Eminem wants this immortality with his music, which is safe to say is already secured after nearly 20 years on top of the rap game.
Got you feeling me, whether willing or unwillingly, you still agree. As long as there's still this hunger and will in me, then expect a longer life expectancy.
And hate him or love him, you must agree that he's one of the greatest as the facts speak for themselves. Eminem reverses the popular saying wolf in sheep's clothing to signify that it's actually just a regular guy who puts on this persona of a bad guy as a reactive measure to protect himself.
In morning, so I'm warning you, don't coax me, it's silly. I'm really a sheep in wolf's clothing who only reacts when he gets pushed, don't be fooled.
The third verse of the song was written after Proof's death, and Eminem believes the press handled the death of Proof terribly.
The press blows up this whole thing, it's stupid. They don't know because they don't see that I'm wounded. All they did was ballooned it.
And this bar is in reference to Mr. Cartoon, the tattoo artist that drew Eminem's Proof tattoo, and some others.
I'm sick of talking about these tattoos Cartoon did.
The song ends with the cold outro.
Cold as a G, my heart's frozen, it don't even beat, so expect no apologies.
Which signifies how things he's been through, especially the death of Proof has made him turn cold, so no apologies. His heart is now frozen and he feels no remorse for his actions. No Apologies is certainly one of Eminem's coldest songs and is definitely a top 10 song for many Eminem fans around the world, and rightfully so. If you enjoy the content of the channel, consider donating at the link in the description of this video. Thanks for watching, leave your thoughts in the comment section below and don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoy this.